Hey everybody on YouTube, how we doing today? Doing some drive time. I figured we'd get on here and have a rant because we're going to be on doing this for a while, so I figured I'd just talk to you all instead. I can't be on the front porch out there like 420 out there in Arizona. He's always out on his front porch, which is a nice place to sit and contemplate things and think, but this is about the only time I get to really, well, I guess sometimes sit around, but really by yourself sitting around like this in the car commuting is about the only time I get. So this is my version of sitting on the front porch, I guess. But there's some subjects, obviously a lot of things in the news that are getting a lot of attention, even on some of the prepper channels that are on YouTube and things like that. People putting a lot of opinions out there and things. So I guess I figure I got my time to put my nickels worth in or whatever. But I guess we'll start off with the Chick-Fil-A thing. It's been up front in front of the news, which really, I guess it shouldn't have been news, but we went to Chick-Fil-A the other day to show our support, me and a friend of mine and about several hundred other people. Seemed like it's millions around the country, obviously, but well, I think what everybody's misunderstanding, especially those that were opposing the founders' viewpoints or the CEO's viewpoints, was that everybody got upset was when the mayor started saying they were going to kick them out of their cities and not let them do business in their cities. That's what really got everybody riled up. I don't think anybody, obviously if you want to marry somebody of the same persuasion as you and the CEO voiced his opinion, he didn't think that was the right thing, and you can oppose that and you can voice that, and that's all well and good. But when those political leaders decided to go out there and say they don't share their values and they weren't part of their culture, their city, and et cetera, that's what really got a lot of people upset. And that's what I think really started the whole thing off. Activist organizations that favor homosexual marriage and everything, I don't think that was a big deal. But when those mayors who are far out there anyway, trying to control their populace, said something like that, really got into the ire of a lot of people, and a lot of people wanted to stand up and say, you don't affect the free market like that, or whatnot. Don't limit businesses. It's bad enough we have the economy we have. We got mayors out there trying to limit business and economic progress or economic activity. So I think that's what really made people come out the way they did. Somebody asked, there's a couple people walking by the Chick-Fil-A when we were standing in line, they're like, is there a special or something? And I just broke it down to them. CEO said some things people didn't like, and we're just going to show our support for him. That's kind of the way I put it. I didn't even bring up what exactly, the homosexual thing or anything, because I don't think that was necessarily, everybody that was there wasn't opposed to homosexual marriage necessarily, but they were definitely all opposed to being thug-like behavior from politicians like that, trying to shut down or limit business and what they do. And somebody brought up a good point on something I was listening to on the radio. Rahm Emanuel backed the Muslim Brotherhood, or not the Muslim Brotherhood, the Nation of Islam, and Louis Farrakhan, who has the exact same viewpoint on homosexual marriage, and that it shouldn't be allowed, et cetera, but he welcomed them with open arms into the city of Chicago. So hypocrisy knows no bounds, of course, with that crew, and it's just more show to trying to get political advantage and political control, really, I guess you'd say. So that's my thoughts about that. It's been front and center. Hopefully it gets out of the news soon, because it needs to be. There's a lot more important things. A lot of people commenting that, hey, we got a $15 trillion deficit and a private bank running our currency and running us into the ground, and I think that's definitely more important. But it was good to see everybody, if we can get everybody that was out there buying Chick-Fil-A to understand the evil of the Federal Reserve and fiat currency and how its private banks are pretty much running us into the ground, I think we'd be a lot better off. But at least we got some economic progress out of that. So moving on, I guess, the Olympics is now about halfway through, I guess, or maybe a little bit less than half, and Team USA seems to be doing well. But one of the, I guess controversy is this Chinese girl who is just kicking everybody's butt. And the doping allegations are out there, and they were kind of Alright, I had to answer. Got a phone call there. I had to take care of business. So what we're talking about, the girl in the Olympics, the Chinese girl, just kicking butt and swimming is a big issue, and they were accusing her of doping and things like that. And now I guess the big topic is maybe some genetic modifications going on, or some type. And that's just, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. You know, one question is, were they able to do it after she was born? Is this a project they've been working on, you know, for the last, what is she, 16 years old? Has it been 16 years of genetic tests they've been running? And who else has it applied to? And then you got stories out of England where they've done basically mutations of humans, you know, with certain genetic changes and things, and it's pretty crazy, you know. And somebody was talking about, you know, how preppers, you know, you're prepping all your things to survive with, you know, and you know, you've got firearms and food and water and everything you're doing. It's like, if there was ever anybody to have to worry about, you know, opposing, it's like technologically they're so far ahead of what we're preparing for. I mean, you're talking everything from biological agents that can, you know, like you talk about the zombie virus, you know, thing, or biological agents that can just wipe out people, you know, without even having to worry about coming to your house, you know, to get people, or to, you know, to confiscate guns or whatnot. Then you got genetic Superman, hypothetically speaking, you know, that, you know, you got your soldier, you know, that old movie with the soldier movie from back in the 90s, you know, talking about genetically modified food. Now we got genetically modified people. You know, where does it end, and how far ahead technologically? Because all this going, I mean, you already got drones all over the place. You can't, you know, pretty much can't hide from anybody anymore. So it's a lot of craziness going on. You put some, you know, it's more than about just somebody winning an Olympic medal. There's a lot of other repercussions that, if we're modifying people, I mean, what does that mean for the future of the human race? You know, you're talking about a different gene pool. You know, will they be? Is that something where, you know, will that be able to reproduce? Is there, you know, like genetically modified food, it can't reproduce. It's only controlled by the owner, Monsanto, generally. Is that going to happen with people where they can't reproduce because they're genetically modified? I mean, so somebody controls basically a patent on people. That's sci-fi stuff. I know to most people, it's pretty deep, and it's not really something to put a lot of thought into. But I got time here driving, so I'm putting some time into it, and it makes you uncomfortable because you want to think that, you know, everything makes sense and we have certain rules we live by, and they'll all continue to move that way, but quickly changing, it seems like. So yeah, the Olympics, and that girl. Well, other than that, I saw some good events. I've watched a little bit of water polo, and there was some gymnastics on. I missed the gymnastics, but we got some gold out of that on the women's team. And like the United States is doing pretty good, and China's right there, being competitive, especially in the swimming events. They actually showed some of the archery, which is surprising. I mean, we all know they won't show the skeet events, even though they briefly showed the girl winning the gold medal, the American. Shot 99 out of 100, which was pretty impressive for anybody, I do believe. That's pretty amazing. But they briefly showed that in some of the news reports I saw back at the beginning of the Olympics. So they didn't completely block firearms out with their political correctness, but I'm sure you won't hear a lot more of it. I don't know if there's any other shooting events, but I think there's air. No, there's not air. Is there air rifle? I know you got the biathlon in the winter with the air rifle, but I don't know if there's any air rifle in the summer or not. We'll have to look into that. Obviously, if you're not hearing about it on the coverage, they're keeping it pretty low key. There is. So yeah, the Olympics are going good. Hopefully in another week, you know, get some good events and just some good competition, and it's something to enjoy. You know, I don't think doesn't mean quite the same as what it used to. You know, it doesn't seem like. So moving on, what else is in the news? What's out there? Obviously the Colorado shooter's still in the news, or shooters if I was to say it. I'm very skeptical on that whole thing, and I know a lot of people, and the victims are what's really important. You know, we all want to sympathize with them and their families, and it's a very tragic incident, any way you slice it. But this James Holmes character, I just can't get my arms around him being the one that did all that all by himself. The money, the time, and energy, and definitely there was some training that had to be involved too. Doesn't seem like he could do all that in the about 3-month period that he dropped out of school. And what I keep asking is, has anybody, you know, just think about this. Go into a dark room with smoke in it, with a gas mask on, and see how effective you are shooting at whatever it is, even if you're spraying and not really aiming, to get the amount of hits and everything he got with, what was he, you look at the number of rounds he shot, was it 124 rounds? And, you know, he's got 70-some hits. You know, it's somebody that was supposedly untrained. Sounds pretty, I'm pretty skeptical of that. I just don't think it's that easy. I think we should do a test of go out there and see what somebody who's got a little more firearms capacity, go out in there and go into a dark, smoky area with a gas mask on and see how somebody that's trained does it. I mean, you got obviously your operators that are high end, you know, they would drill and do test runs incessantly on something if they were to do a similar target. And this guy walks in there, without a dry run, without a rehearsal, never shot in the dark or in the smoke or with a gas mask on ever. And maybe hypothetically, I mean, they haven't proved anything yet, as far as I've heard, that he went out and actually shot his gun at rounds or zeroed or shot with a gas mask on or anything. And obviously it sounds like he didn't know how to clear a malfunction, because he seems like he fumbled with that for a while. But I'm just real skeptical of the people saying, for one, that he acted alone, and then another that he was even the shooter, because nobody saw him take a gas mask off, and nobody can pinpoint that it was him getting in the car. So that makes you even more skeptical, because, and plus he was on drugs. They found him with some medication, all medicated out. He couldn't even get out of the car apparently to respond to the cops. He was so out of it. And all this in a 2-minute window, it just does not meet the, I would say, common sense test, the sniff test, the logical thought test. So I guess that's the conspiracy side of me, but a conspiracy only means people getting together to make something happen. It doesn't mean it's true or false or anything. But there's a lot of evidence out there that says otherwise, that he was not acting alone, or may not even been the shooter at all, that he may have been a patsy, basically somebody got, Lee Harvey Oswald and set up. So that's my thoughts, and that just I believe it when I see it, that he was the actual guy that did it. So that's my thoughts on Colorado. Hope prayers for all those out there who lost family members and are still in the hospital and stuff. But on a separate side of that, there's a lot of talk on a lot of gun channels and stuff talking about CCW and the effect that would have had on the shooter and on that event as a whole. And you'd have to think, planning out an event like that, you're definitely going to go to a target-rich environment with a lot of people packed into one place. And if you can go with path of least resistance, somewhere where there's not going to be somebody shooting back, that's where you're going to go. And that probably played a high factor in where he decided to do. So I think that is part of it as well. Colorado has open carry and concealed carry in other parts of the state, but this city and this theater in particular didn't believe in that duty of self-protection. So in some ways you can think they're culpable, and I've heard a couple of video channels put that out there, that they're liable, because if you're going to allow people to be defenseless, you have a duty to protect them, I would think. But it only makes sense, you know, anybody shooting back is better than nothing. Anybody fighting back is better than nothing. And to just let a guy go in and say that somebody fighting back would make it worse, I don't think it can get any worse. Over on the Nothing Fancy, he did a good thing on that. I'll link that here. He's got a good long dissertation, I think, on that. And I'll leave it be at that. I'm kind of on his train of thought that anybody resistance is better than nothing, and it couldn't get any worse. People that are out there saying concealed carry or somebody firing back through a crowded theater and the smoke can only make it worse. No, not really. It can't get worse than what it was. It's anytime you have somebody going like that, it's as bad as it's going to get, and the only thing you can remedy it is to end it as soon as possible, and the only way you're going to do that is by fighting back, and if you can fight back with another firearm, that's the best way. Even if you had body armor on, which it sounds like he probably did. He probably just had a tactical vest of some type, which black, you know, being the so-called tactical color, which is another situation entirely. Sounds like he just had a vest on with his rounds and everything in it, not actual body armor. So, and maybe like the pants he was wearing, they were knee pads or urban type, you know, padding on his pants or whatever, so that, you know, it wasn't really body armor all over either. It's hard to say. I haven't heard all of that, but you put 2 or 3 rounds into a guy's chest with body armor, he's not going to be feeling good. I mean, people get his body armor in other countries all the time, and they have to take some time to recover. You get cracked ribs, depending on what you get hit with, you know, and whatnot. Knocks the wind out of you, it'll knock you down, put you down for a few minutes. And so that would definitely be a better situation than what happened. So enough of that. That's a rant. As you can see, traffic here is not good. Another Musean day for getting the drive done, getting back into the high desert, and maybe we'll get on here a little later. We something else to rant about. But that's kind of, mind bounces around a little bit when you're out here driving. You got thoughts yourself, especially when traffic is backed up and is slow as it is right now, as usual. There's something about this stretch that just, it's always like this, no matter what time of day it is, really. But all right, we'll talk to you later. We'll get back to you.